Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the last 5 minutes before you fall asleep could completely change your entire life? That there's a secret conversation happening between your mind and the universe every single night, and most people are completely unaware of it. Tonight, everything changes. Every night, as you lay your head on your pillow, your conscious mind begins to fade away. But here's what most people don't realize. This transition from wakefulness to sleep is the most powerful time for transformation that exists. Ancient wisdom keepers understood this sacred window, and they developed specific practices to harness this incredible potential. Today you're going to learn how to turn your sleep into a direct communication channel with the universe itself. Here's the thing that nobody talks about. We spend 1/3 of our life sleeping, yet we treat it like dead time. We collapse into bed exhausted, minds racing with the day's problems, scrolling through our phones until our eyes can barely stay open. Then we wonder why we wake up feeling drained, why our dreams are chaotic, why our lives seem to move in circles. The truth is most people are completely wasting the most transformative hours of their existence. While your body rests, your subconscious mind becomes incredibly receptive. It's like having a direct phone line to the universe, but instead of making the call, we're leaving the phone off the hook. Think about it. How many nights have you gone to bed worried about money, relationships, your health, your future? How many times have you woken up with those same problems still weighing on your mind? This happens because we're not using sleep the way it was meant to be used. The sacred transition between worlds, the moment your head touches the pillow, a profound and ancient ritual begins. This is not merely a biological necessity, a shutting down of systems to recharge for the next day's demands. To view it as such is to see the ocean as nothing but water, missing the depth, the currents, the entire universe of life teeming beneath its surface. This transition from wakefulness to sleep is in truth one of the most significant spiritual gateways you will ever cross, and you cross it every single night of your life. It is a threshold, a liminal space where the rigid structures of the everyday world begin to soften, and the boundaries between what you perceive as your individual self and the vast infinite field of possibility become incredibly thin, almost transparent. This is not a metaphor. It is an experience of consciousness that has been recognized and revered across cultures and millennia. It is the point where the river of your conscious mind meets the ocean of universal awareness, and for a few precious moments they are indistinguishable. Consider the state of your mind during the day. It is a busy place, a marketplace of thoughts, worries, plans, and analyses. Your conscious, logical mind functions like a diligent but overly cautious security guard. Its job is to protect you, to question everything, to analyze threats and opportunities, to doubt, to validate, and to maintain a sense of control based on past experiences and future projections. This is the beta brainwave state. And while it is essential for navigating the complexities of daily life, it is also a barrier. It filters intuition, dismisses subtle promptings, and insists on evidence and logic before allowing anything into your awareness. It is a necessary function, but it is not the totality of who you are. As you begin to drift towards sleep, something remarkable happens. This security guard, weary from the day's duties, begins to relax its vigil. The gates of perception start to open. Your brainwave activity begins to slow, shifting from the high-frequency beta waves to the more relaxed flowing alpha waves. This is the state associated with daydreaming, with light meditation, with a gentle unfocusing of the eyes and the mind. It is a state of calm awareness without intense concentration. As you drift deeper, you enter the theta state. This is the realm of deep meditation, of vivid imagery, of profound intuition, and of access to the subconscious mind. This is the gate. In this theta dominant state, the critical faculty of the conscious mind is offline. The security guard is asleep at his post. The door to the control room of your being, a room that typically operates on autopilot based on old programming and ingrained habits, is now wide open. For this brief sacred window, you have the opportunity to step inside. You have the chance to not just be a passenger on the journey of your life, but to take the helm and set a new course. This is the moment when true transformation becomes not just possible, but available. Your subconscious mind is the storehouse of everything you have ever experienced, every belief you hold, every memory both acknowledged and hidden. It is the source of your automatic behaviors, your deep-seated emotions, and your instinctual reaction. It is estimated that this subconscious realm governs upwards of 95% of your daily life. While your conscious mind is the captain giving orders on the bridge, your subconscious is the entire crew operating the engine room, the navigation systems, and the steering mechanisms below deck. Most of the time, the captain is giving orders based on old, outdated maps, unaware of the new technology available in the ship itself. But in this threshold state, the captain can go below deck. He can see the controls, he can interact directly with the crew, and he can input new coordinates. The difference between those who experience profound change and those who remain stuck in the same patterns lies entirely in the application of intention during this open window. Hope is a passive wish sent out into the unknown. Intention is a conscious focused direction of your own energy and awareness. It is the deliberate act of choosing what you will plant in the fertile soil of your subconscious during this time when it is most receptive. You cannot simply collapse into bed with a mind racing with anxieties and hope to wake up peaceful. You are in that case simply planting more seeds of anxiety and watering them all night long. The process is always happening. The question is not whether you are programming your subconscious, but what you are programming it with. By bringing a calm, clear, and deliberate intention to this transitional state, you move from being a passive recipient of whatever mental clutter occupies your mind to an active architect of your inner world. You cease to be a tenant in the house of your mind and become its master, using the quiet power of the threshold to renovate, to heal, and to build the foundation for a new day. The ancient art of cosmic conversation. Once you understand that this threshold state provides access, the next natural step is to consider what you are accessing and, more importantly, how to engage with it. This is not a one-way street of uploading commands into a silent void. This is the art of conversation. Long before the terms subconscious programming or neuroplasticity entered the modern lexicon, ancient traditions across the globe had already mapped this inner territory. They did not see the dream state or the hypnagogic state as a neurological accident, a random firing of neurons meant to entertain the sleeping brain. They recognized it as a sacred space for dialogue, for receiving messages, guidance, and healing from a source of intelligence far greater than the individual egoic mind. They saw dreams as letters from a deeper self or from the universe itself, and they developed sophisticated rituals and practices to ensure they could not only receive these letters but also send their own. This concept of conversation is pivotal. It shifts the dynamic from one of demanding to one of listening, from grasping to receiving, from begging to aligning. The intelligence you are engaging with is not a cosmic vending machine where you insert a prayer and out drops a specific result. It is the same fundamental creative force that orchestrates the unfolding of galaxies and the photosynthesis in a leaf. It is the intelligence that beats your heart without your conscious command, that heals a wound without your conscious direction. When you approach this force with a list of demands, you are like a cell in the body demanding a specific nutrient without understanding the overall health of the organism. But when you approach it with a question, with a genuine desire for understanding and alignment, you are that same cell communicating its needs to the body's innate wisdom, which knows exactly how to respond in the context of the whole. Therefore, the essence of this ancient art lies not in what you ask for, but in how you ask. The quality of your question determines the quality of the answer you will receive. A question born from a place of lack of fear, of wanting to get, will often yield confusing or unsatisfying answers because it is rooted in the vibration of the problem itself. For example, the question, "Why do I never have enough money?" is a statement of lack disguised as a question. It reinforces the very state you wish to change. It is like calling a wise friend and only speaking of your misery without pause. Eventually, the communication becomes strained. The universe responds to the vibrational frequency you emit. A more skillful question arises from a shift in perspective. It moves from getting to understanding, from having to being. Instead of "give me money," the question becomes, "show me the hidden barriers within myself that prevent the natural flow of abundance from reaching me, or guide me toward the actions and the state of being that allows me to provide immense value, which in turn creates prosperity." This reframes everything. You are no longer a beggar at the door. You are a student asking for insight. You are a partner in creation seeking to understand how to play your role more effectively. You are asking the universe to collaborate with you to reveal the next step on the path, trusting that the intelligence that designed the path knows the best way forward. This is a respectful dialogue. It acknowledges that you may not see the entire map, but you are willing to take the next step with faith. This conversation is happening anyway, every moment of every day. Your body is in constant dialogue with its environment. Your intuition is constantly receiving signals that your logical mind filters out. This practice before sleep is simply the act of becoming consciously aware of this ongoing conversation and choosing to participate in it with clarity and purpose. You are not turning on a new channel. You are simply removing the static to hear the channel that has been playing all along. You are learning the language of symbols, feelings, and synchronicities that this intelligence uses to communicate. And by asking clear, open-ended questions from a place of calm intention, you signal your readiness to finally listen and understand the guidance that has always been available to you, preparing your inner sanctuary to engage in a conversation of such subtlety and depth. You must create the conditions for it to occur. You would not attempt to meditate in the middle of a bustling train station. The external chaos would overwhelm any attempt to find inner quiet. The same principle applies to this nightly practice. Your environment is not a separate inert container in which you live. It is an active participant in your state of being. It holds energy, reflects your inner state, and influences your mind constantly. Your bedroom, therefore, must be re-envisioned. It is not merely a place for unconsciousness. It is your inner sanctuary, your nightly temple for transformation and conversation. It is the physical counterpart to the inner sacred space you are trying to access. If the room is cluttered, chaotic, and filled with distracting energy, it acts as a mirror to a cluttered and chaotic mind, making the journey inward that much more difficult. The process of preparing the sanctuary begins with simplicity, which is the foundation of clarity. Physical clutter represents postponed decisions, unfinished business, and stagnant energy. It subconsciously weighs on the mind, pulling your awareness back into the world of objects and tasks. The act of clearing this clutter is not about achieving a sterile minimalist perfection. It is an act of respect. It is the physical ritual of clearing the stage for the performance that is about to take place. Each item put away, each surface clean is a statement of intention that this space is reserved for rest and inner work. This extends to the energetic clutter as well. The glowing screens of phones, tablets, and televisions are perhaps the most disruptive elements in the modern sanctuary. They are portals to the waking world's chaos, emitting not just light, but a constant stream of information, drama, and stimulation that is directly antithetical to the state of receptive quiet. You are trying to cultivate their presence in the sanctuary is like bringing a blaring radio into a library. Beyond clutter, the very physical properties of the room must be attended to. The temperature of the room is far more important than most realize. A cool room, typically slightly cooler than daytime comfort levels, signals the body's innate intelligence that it is time to rest. It supports the natural drop in core body temperature that facilitates deeper, more restorative sleep. This physical comfort allows the body to fade into the background, so the mind is not distracted by sensations of being too hot or too cold. Darkness is not a preference. It is a biological requirement. Even small amounts of ambient light from streetlights, electronic indicators, or cracks under the door can disrupt the production of melatonin, the hormone essential for sleep regulation, and can inhibit the depth of sleep, preventing you from reaching the optimal theta state for clear communication. Creating true darkness is like closing the doors and windows of your temple, ensuring you will not be interrupted. Yet, the most crucial preparation occurs not in the room itself, but within the landscape of your own mind. You can have the most perfectly arranged cool and dark room, but if you bring a mind racing with the day's conflicts and tomorrow's anxieties into it, the sanctuary is violated from within. The hour before bed is a transitional period, a buffer zone between the day's battles and the night's peace. This time must be guarded jealously. It is not a time for solving problems, engaging in heated debates, or consuming stimulating and violent media. That is like running a marathon and then expecting your heart to stop instantly at the finish line. the body and mind need to wind down. This is a time for gentle calming activities that allow the settlement of the day to settle, just as agitated water in a glass appears cloudy but becomes clear when left to rest. So through Dust the Mind, reading calming literature, practicing gentle stretching, listening to soothing music, or reflecting on the day with a journal, these are all practices that allow the turbulence of the mind to settle. This creates a clear, still pool within you. And it is only in the stillness of that inner pool that you can clearly see the reflection of the wisdom you seek. Preparing the outer sanctuary supports the creation of the inner one, and together they form the perfect vessel to receive the profound communication that the threshold state offers. The 5-and-Odd Miracle Protocol, the bridge between understanding a principle and living it, is practice. Knowledge without application is like a seed held in the hand. It has potential, but it will never grow until it is planted in the soil. What follows is the planting ritual. This is the precise practical sequence that transforms the theoretical gateway of the threshold state into a lived experience of profound communication. It is deceptively simple, consisting of only 5 steps to be undertaken in the final 5 minutes before sleep claims. You do not mistake this simplicity for insignificance. The most powerful forces in nature are often the most elegant and straightforward. The pull of gravity, the flow of water, the growth of a tree, they do not require complex manipulation, only alignment with their fundamental nature. This protocol is your method of alignment. It is the conscious, deliberate act of tuning your entire being to the frequency of reception, of moving from being a passive passenger on the journey into sleep to being an active navigator with a clear destination in mind. Each step is a central part of a whole, and to skip one is to build a bridge with a section missing. You may not reach the other side. It begins with the foundation of all embodied life, the breath. The first step is to take 3 deep conscious breaths. This is not the shallow automatic breathing of the day done without thought. This is a deliberate drawing in of the present moment and the conscious release of everything that does not serve. With the first breath, you draw your awareness away from the external world and into the internal landscape of your body. With the second breath, you acknowledge the day that has passed, accepting it without judgment. With the third breath, you release it completely, allowing the outreach to carry away any residue of tension, obligation, or worry. This act of breathing is the signal to your nervous system that the work of the day is over and the work of the night can begin. Following this, you initiate a mental scan of the body. Starting from the very crown of the head, you feel the weight of the skull against the pillow, and you consciously allow the tiny muscles around the scalp and forehead to soften as if they are melting into the support beneath you. You move your awareness down to the eyes, the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders, places where the burdens of the day are physically stored. You invite a sensation of warmth and heaviness into each area, granting it permission to completely let go. You continue this journey down through the arms to the fingertips, through the chest and abdomen, down through the legs, and all the way to the soles of the feet. The entire body must be at peace. A restless, tense body will shout over the subtle whispers of the mind, anchoring your awareness in physical discomfort rather than allowing it to expand into the receptive state necessary for communication. Once the body is settled, you turn your attention to the heart. The second step is to cultivate a genuine feeling of gratitude. This is not an intellectual exercise of listing things you are supposed to be thankful for. It is the active invocation of a specific feeling. You must search for one thing from the day that truly touched you, no matter how small it may seem. It could be the warmth of the sun on your skin during a brief walk, the taste of a perfectly brewed cup of tea, the unexpected smile from a stranger, or the comfort of a familiar sound. Locate that specific moment in your memory and then allow yourself to relive it. Feel the sensation of it in your chest. Let it generate a genuine warmth, a softening and opening. This practice is alchemical. It actively transmutes the energy of your consciousness from a state of lack. What you did not get done, what you wish you had, what is missing to a state of abundance, what you have already received, what is already present and good in your life. This shift is critical because the universe responds to vibration, not to will. You cannot ask for more from a place of feeling empty and expect to be filled. You must ask from a place of already being full, and gratitude is the fastest way to generate that feeling of fullness. It opens the heart and makes it a receptive vessel rather than a clenched fist. Now from this place of physical relaxation and emotional abundance, you are ready for the third and most crucial step, forming your question or intention. This is the core of the communication. The quality of your answer is entirely dependent on the quality of your question. The intention must be spoken silently within the mind with clarity and precision, yet it must also be framed with openness and humility. It is the difference between demanding a specific outcome and seeking true understanding. For example, the question, "Give me a new job," is a demand that comes from a place of lack and assumes you know the best solution. A more skillful formulation would be, "Reveal to me the path where my talents can bring the greatest service and fulfillment." The first is a closed request for a thing. The second is an open request for wisdom and direction. It is a question that the universe can answer in 1,000 different ways through an idea, a dream, a chance meeting, a sudden insight. Your question should be a beacon you light, not a cage you build. It should be specific enough to give direction, but open enough to allow for miraculous and unexpected routes to your destination. The fourth step is perhaps the most difficult for the modern mind to master: the complete release of attachment. This is the act of surrender. Immediately after asking your question, the logical mind, the security guard, will want to jump in and start figuring out the answer. It will want to analyze, plan, and speculate. This must be consciously stopped. The act of asking is the act of planting the seed. You do not dig it up every hour to see if it has grown. You trust that in the dark, silent earth, the process is underway. You must trust that your question has been heard by intelligence far greater than your own conscious mind. You release all expectation of how the answer should appear, when it should come, or what form it should take. This release is not passive resignation, it is active trust. It is the final essential ingredient that allows the process to work. Clinging to the outcome is like holding a bird too tightly in your hand. It cannot fly. By opening your hand and releasing it, you give it the freedom to return to you of its own will. Finally, you simply drift into sleep. You do not force. You let go of the practice itself and allow the natural process of sleep to envelop you. You do so not with desperation, but with a gentle, curious expectation, as if you have mailed a letter to a wise friend. And now you go about your life, knowing a response will arrive in its own perfect time. This is the 5-in-1 miracle. It is not a complicated magic trick. It is the simple, profound act of preparing the soil, planting the seed, and trusting the sun and the rain to do their work. Recognizing the universe's response or convictizing requires two participants. One who speaks and one who listens. In the previous steps, you have learned how to speak, how to form your question, and send it out into the vastness with clarity and intention. Now we must address the other half of the dialogue, learning how to listen. If you expect the response to come in the form of a thunderous voice from the heavens or a detailed blueprint appearing in your mind, you will likely be disappointed and may miss the subtle, elegant, and constant communication that is already occurring all around you. The universe speaks a language of symbolism, synchronicity, and felt sense. It communicates through the interconnected web of life itself using dreams, chance encounters, recurring patterns, and sudden intuitive knowings as its vocabulary. Learning this language is like developing a new sense. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to perceive reality through a different lens than the one of pure logic and linear cause. The most direct and common channel for this communication is through your dreams. As you engage in this nightly practice, your dreams will likely become more vivid, more memorable, and more important. It is essential to understand that they are rarely literal. The subconscious mind and the intelligence beyond it speaks in metaphors, symbols, and emotional landscapes. A dream is not a news report, it is a poem. To interpret it literally is to miss its deeper meaning. For instance, a dream about a car represents your journey and your sense of control or direction in life. The condition of the car who is driving and the nature of the road are all symbolic clues. A dream about a house represents the self. The different rooms are different aspects of your personality and your history. A flooded basement might point to submerged emotions needing attention. A dream about being chased is rarely about a literal pursuer. It is almost always about something within yourself, a fear, a memory, an aspect of your own shadow that you are refusing to confront in your waking. The key to understanding dream messages is to feel the emotion of the dream upon waking and to contemplate the symbolism not as a fixed code, but as a personal language that is unique to you. What does water mean to you? What does flying represent? Keep a journal by your bed and write down whatever fragments you remember upon waking. Over time, your personal symbolic dictionary will reveal itself and the messages will become clearer. However, the answers are not confined to the dream state. Often you will receive guidance in your waking hours in the form of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. You may ask a question about a new path in life, and the next day a stranger on the bus will be having a conversation that speaks directly to your situation. You may be pondering a book to read, and 3 different people will independently recommend the same title to you within a week. You may have a sudden unexplainable urge to turn down a different street on your walk home and bump into someone who offers you exactly the opportunity you needed. These are not random accidents. They are the universe's way of orchestrating events in response to your sincere asking. The response may also come as a sudden download of insight, often in the moments right upon waking or when you are in a state of relaxed focus, like showering or walking in nature. A problem that seemed insurmountable the night before will suddenly appear clear, and the solution will present itself with a feeling of undeniable certainty. This is the answer arriving not through external events, but through a direct line to your own intuition, which has been activated and opened by your practice. The crucial skill to develop here is discernment, which is a balance between alertness and obsession. It is the practice of holding a soft focus, of being open and receptive to signs without desperately searching for them in every cloud formation and license plate number. Desperation creates an energy of lack that can actually block reception. Trust your intuition, that gut feeling, that quiet inner knowing to recognize what is a true synchronicity and what is merely coincidence. You can turn your dreams into classrooms, your sleep into healing, and your nights into preparation for miraculous days. Think about that for a moment. Most people view sleep as nothing more than a break from life, a pause button, a biological necessity, a stretch of hours where nothing productive happens. But what if that perspective is all wrong? What if those hours were actually the most sacred, powerful, and transformative part of your day? Sleep is when the body rests, yes, but it's also when the mind opens up to layers of wisdom that our waking thoughts are often too busy to notice. The world gets quieter. The constant chatter of responsibilities, deadlines, and distractions fades away. And in that stillness, something remarkable happens. The universe finally has space to speak. Those whispers of guidance, the gentle nudges, the sudden clarity about a decision you've been struggling with, they all come when your conscious mind is no longer in the way. But here's the key, you have to invite them in. Most people sleep into bed carrying the weight of their day, never realizing that they could ask for help, clarity, or healing before they fall asleep. You can literally plant questions in your mind, like seeds in fertile soil, and allow the night to grow the answers. Questions like, what am I missing about this situation? Or show me the next step I need to take, or even help me release what's holding me back. It's not about demanding answers. It's about opening a door and trusting that the guidance will come in its own perfect timing through dreams, through intuition the next morning, through sudden bursts of inspiration you can't quite explain. Sleep can also become a space of deep emotional and physical restoration if you allow it. Imagine lying down, not just hoping to rest, but intending to let go of the stress, the anger, the overthinking that weighs you down. You can literally tell your mind, while I sleep, help me heal, and you'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel when you wake up. When you approach sleep with intention, it transforms from an unconscious habit into a spiritual practice. Your nights stop being empty hours and start becoming the foundation for extraordinary days. Because when you wake up with clarity, with peace, with energy, you make better decisions. You show up differently. Life begins to feel guided rather than chaotic. So tonight, before you close your eyes, try it. Ask one question, set one intention, hand over one burden. Then trust that while you rest, the universe is working, aligning, whispering what you most need to hear Turn your nights into preparation for miracles and watch how your days begin to change.